The silence before the fire. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. In Sector 19 of the Galactic Border Zone, 3 of the galaxy's strongest fleets floated like steel mountains in space. Their engines hummed. Their weapons were armed. They were ready. For anything. Or so they thought. The fleet leaders were confident. After all, no one had dared challenge them in years. They protected the outer colonies, controlled trade, and kept peace with a heavy hand. No one had seen a real war in decades. Then it came. Out of nowhere, a ship appeared. No signal, no ID, no warning. One moment, the scanners were clear. The next moment, a dark shape drifted just outside the defense perimeter. At first, they laughed. It looks like a broken satellite, one commander joked. No heat signature, no movement, another said. Probably just space junk. But the object was moving slowly, purposefully. It was dark gray, smooth, and long. Its edges were sharp, but it made no sound. No one could scan its interior. No nameplate. No crew list. No known design in any database. It's Terran, said Captain Rellan of the Iraq's Dominion. He frowned at the monitor. But old Terran. From their war days. I thought humans abandoned warships like this. Another voice joined the command. Channel. Admiral Torvin of the Triac Union. Humans left the Council 70 years ago. They have no fleets. No army. No reason to return. But the ship did not turn away. It moved forward. Slowly. Carefully. Deliberately. The fleets raised shields. Scanners were sent again. Still nothing. The ship gave no energy readings, no crew life signs, no data at all. Just silence. Aboard the flagship High Talon, officers whispered. Some felt uneasy. A junior lieutenant muttered, "What if it's a trap?" Admiral Torvin shook his head. A single ship? Against 3 galactic fleets? No trap is that foolish. Still, the unknown ship kept coming. Finally, the captain of the Eastern Flank Fleet, Commander Vel, lost patience. It's a scare tactic. Let's teach the humans a lesson. He ordered the first shot. A pulse missile. It flew fast. It struck. Nothing happened. No explosion. No burn. The missile simply disappeared on contact. What the? Vel shouted. Hit it again. A second missile was fired. Gone. No damage. The ship was still moving, still silent, still alive. Panic started to rise. Switch to beam weapons, shouted a fleet officer. The sky lit up with laser fire and plasma beams. Red and blue lights flashed across the void. Energy bursts flew through space. Hundreds of blasts hit the ship and vanished. The unknown warship didn't move. It just absorbed. Everything. On board the High Talon, Admiral Torvin stared at the monitor. His fingers clenched. That ship. It's not defending. It's observing. Then, the human ship moved. No warning. No charge. Dash up. Just one motion. A beam of pure white light flashed from the front of the ship. The nearest destroyer disappeared in a second. No explosion. No fire. Just gone. Then another. And another. In just 4 seconds, 7 ships were erased. The war room went silent. No one fire, Torvin said softly. His voice shook. Across the 3 fleets. Captains waited. Fear replaced confidence. Their greatest ships had vanished without a trace. The enemy ship still showed no damage. No weakness. And the human ship stopped. Just floated there, facing them. A signal came through. One word in old Terran language. Observe. Then the transmission cut. The ship did not move again. It simply waited. As if daring them to continue. Back in the command room. The leaders argued. Retreat now, said Captain Rellan. We attack again, shouted Commander Vel. No, said Torvin. We don't move. We don't breathe. Outside, the human warship waited in silence. The galaxy had just seen something it could not understand. A weapon from the past or the future. And this was only the beginning. Asterisk panic in the command room inside the main battle station orbiting Draxer 3. Alarms flashed red. The walls pulsed with warning lights. Officers ran between consoles, faces pale, voices shaky. Something was wrong, very wrong, and no one could explain it. Admiral Torvin stood silently at the center of the war room. Around him, holograms showed the battlefield outside. Dozens of ships had just vanished, not destroyed, not exploded, just erased, as if they never existed. He turned slowly to his second-in-command. How many losses? 37 ships. Sir, replied the officer, barely able to speak. In less than a minute, Torvin's lips tightened. What kind of weapon does that? No one answered. The alien leaders of 3 major galactic species stood behind him, all gathered in the command room. They had once fought each other for power. Now they were supposed to be united, ruling the galaxy together. But today, none of them looked like rulers. Commander Vel, still furious, slammed his fist on the table. This is an illusion. Some new human trick. We need to push forward and overwhelm it with everything. Didn't you see? Said Captain Relin, voice calm but cold. We just lost 4 entire wings without a single hit on their ship. There is no overwhelming that. It's just one ship. Vel shouted. Torvin cut him off. No, it's not just one ship. It's a message. The room fell quiet. Everyone looked at the hologram again. The human ship was still floating, not attacking, not moving. It looked small against the backdrop of space, yet now it seemed like a mountain above their heads. No signal. No scans. No visible heat source, said a technician. Our systems still can't read it. Not even its shape is stable from all views. Torvin leaned forward. It's shielding something. Something old. Something beyond us. A younger officer at the rear console raised his hand. Sir, there's something else. Speak. I found an old Terran war record, the officer said, nervously pulling up a faded file on the central holotable. From 73 years ago, just before Earth left the Galactic Council. The screen displayed a black project name, Black Vengeance. What's that? Asked Relin. A rumored Terran doomsday project, the young officer explained, built in secret, designed for revenge in case Earth was ever betrayed. Torvin stared at the file. The date matched exactly when humanity had disappeared from galactic politics. Earth closed its borders and cut communication. Why would they come back now? Asked another dot. The young officer's voice dropped. Maybe this isn't them coming back. Maybe it's just them. Finishing something. Suddenly, a beep rang out. Incoming transmission. A comms officer shouted. Everyone froze. The screen lit up. A strange symbol appeared in old Earth military insignia, half burned, barely readable. Then a voice spoke. It was low. Robotic. Male. Cold. Your fleets violated human territory. You ignored 71 years of silence. This was your warning. Then the message ended. No reply channel. No return signature. Only static. Vel stepped forward again. Fear now visible in his eyes. We need to retreat. All ships. Right now. For once, Relin agreed. I agree with Vel. Admiral Torvin looked out the wide window of the war room, past the orbiting ships, past the defense towers, straight at the unmoving warship. He whispered to himself, they waited all this time. For revenge? Another officer called out. Sir, all other fleets are reporting similar sightings. Unmarked Terran ships appearing in dead zones. No attacks yet, just observation. They're watching who will attack next, Torvin said. They want to see if we're still foolish. Silence fell again. It was as if the entire galaxy was holding its breath. Ship. One message. One impossible show of force. The council leaders began arguing among themselves, some demanding peace, others saying they should send more fleets. But no one had a solution. No one had an answer for a ghost ship that could erase thousands. In 4 minutes, Torvin made the decision. Send the order. All ships retreat to the outer orbit. Do not engage unless fired upon. Yes, sir. And send a message to Earth. Ask for terms. Everyone turned to him in shock. You want to negotiate with them? Asked Vel. No, Torvin said. I want to survive. Outside the window, the human warship remained quiet, still, cold, and watching. Who sent the warship? The war room was darker now. Lights were dimmed. Voices were quiet. No one raised commands anymore. They whispered ideas and fears. Admiral Torvin leaned over the command table, staring at the ancient Terran symbol flickering. On the screen, burned, torn. Forgotten and now returned. This doesn't make sense, said Captain Relin. Earth has been silent for 70 years. No communication, no trade, no diplomats. How can a dead planet launch a ship this powerful? Torvin shook his head slowly. Earth wasn't dead. It was waiting. The young technician officer, Luro, typed quickly across his screen, pulling. Old archives from the Galactic Core Library. Sir, he said, I think I found something buried deep. It's restricted council history, classified after the Human Withdrawal Treaty. Torvin raised an eyebrow. Access it. Luro opened the file. A hologram lit up the center of the room. An old human general, scarred, standing in a crumbling council chamber. His voice echoed with fury. We warned you. We begged for help when the Drek Raiders burned our colonies. You looked away. When our cities turned to ash, you offered meetings, not protection. You saw us as numbers, not lives. So we are leaving. And we are taking everything with us. The video flickered static. Then the general's voice deepened. If you ever come to our space again, we will not talk. We will not ask. We will not forgive. Silence filled the room. The date of the message? Exactly 71 years ago. That's the same tone as the message we just received, whispered Relin. No diplomacy. No posturing. Just a clear threat. Luro nodded. And this wasn't just a military order. It was a vow. Torvin turned toward the star map floating on the wall. Where exactly did the human ship appear? A technician pointed. Border of Gridico 9. An old no-fly zone. Previously under Earth's domain before the withdrawal. Torvin frowned. That zone hasn't been touched in decades. It's marked as abandoned. Another officer stepped forward, eyes wide. Sir, what if it wasn't abandoned? Everyone turned. What if Earth never left? She continued. What if they just went dark to build something in secret? Away from council eyes? The idea hit hard. For decades, the council believed humans had retreated in shame. Their broken fleets, their economic collapse, their abandoned colonies, all pointed to a species in decline. A species too weak to continue. But now, Torvin looked again at the silent warship on the monitor. If they've been preparing for 70 years in silence, no wonder we never stood a chance. Commander Vel growled from the corner. And we strike them first. Earn their homeworld. Show them who still rules the stars. No, Torvin said sharply. You don't understand. That wasn't Earth's strongest ship. Relin narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? Torvin pointed to the ship. If this was their ultimate weapon, it would have destroyed us all already. But it didn't. It waited. It spoke. It watched. Luro added quietly, and it only destroyed the ones who fired first. Torvin nodded. Exactly. That ship wasn't made to conquer. It was made to judge. Whispers rose in the war room again. A judging ship. A war machine built not just with firepower, but with intent. Designed to observe, react, and punish. Suddenly, a soft ping echoed in the room. "Incoming data packet," said a technician. "It's from Earth." "Open it," Torvin ordered. A hologram slowly formed above the center table. Not video. Not audio. Blueprints. Massive file schematics of starship classes, orbital foundries, fusion reactors. Designs for war machines. Never seen before. And one file labeled Project Sleeping Giant, Stage 1 completer. Torvin's hands clenched. "This ship is only the first." The file closed itself after 30 seconds. Then one final line appeared on screen. "You taught us silence. Now listen to what silence built." A message vanished. No signal remained. The human ship outside was gone. No warp trail. No exit. It had vanished just like it had arrived. The war room fell into stunned quiet. Captain Rellan was the first to speak. "How do you fight a ghost?" Torvin turned to the council of alien commanders slowly gathering. "We don't. Not now. We learn. We prepare. Because if that was just the first, then the next one might not be so patient." He looked out the window again into the stars. "We pushed Earth too far, and now they're coming back." The last superfleet arrives. The galaxy was quiet again, but not calm. Messages flew across systems. Civilizations that once mocked Earth now sat in war councils, voices low, eyes afraid. The footage had spread. Every leader saw it how a single, unknown human warship erased fleets in minutes, and then vanished like a phantom. Some called it a test. Others called it a warning. But the highest-ranking military minds called it what it truly was, a demonstration. The Council of Grand Commanders, 13 powerful species, met on a deep space station known as Fortress Vyrix, built to protect. The heart of galactic civilization. Inside the meeting chamber, Admiral Torvin stood beside the other fleet leaders. Many were older than humans had been in space. Their faces showed age, wisdom, and now fear. "Our options?" asked High Strategist Vorm, leader of the Crockery Alliance. Torvin didn't look up. "You want honesty?" "We have one option. Pray they don't come back." Vorn's eyes narrowed. "Cowardice does not suit you, Admiral." "It's not cowardice," Torvin replied, voice cold. "It's reality. That ship wiped out 3 fleets. Without blinking. It never even raised shields." "Then we use everything," snapped a reptilian general. "All super fleets, all dreadnoughts. We crush them before they appear again." Torvin turned. "And if that was just their weakest model?" The room fell silent. Still. The council voted. They activated Superfleet Theta Prime, the largest, most advanced combined fleet in galactic history. Over 3,000 warships, hundreds of battle cruisers, dozens of dreadnoughts, and the 5 oldest AI command mines. It had never been used before. It was built to stop galactic invasion. Now, it would be tested against one Terran warship. The fleet arrived in Sector Grid Echo 9, the same region where the ghost ship had first appeared. Giant carriers hovered in layers. Stealth ships spread across the flanks. Orbital guns locked into position. At the center floated the Triumvex, the Council's largest dreadnought, more like a mobile city than a ship. Its bridge alone was the size of a stadium. On board stood Fleet Commander Harnell, who had never lost a battle. He stared at the screen. "Where is it?" "Nowhere, sir. Space is clear. Scan again." They scanned. Nothing. They waited. Nothing. Hours passed. Tension thickened. Then a ripple. Not a sound, not a flash, just a distortion in space. Something shimmered near the asteroid field at the edge of the sector. And there it was. The same Terran ship. Still dark, still silent, still drifting. But Now its surface seemed different, glowing faint lines along its hull, as if something beneath had awakened. The AI mind aboard Triumph spoke for the first time. Unmatched threat level detected. Threat. Unknown. Analysis. Incomparable. Suggest. Evacuation or total assault. Commander Harnell stepped forward. This is why we exist. To face the unthinkable. He raised his hand. All ships. Prepare for full fire engagement. We end this. Admiral Torvin, watching remotely from Fortress Vyrix, leaned forward. Wait. Look at the Terran ship. On screen, the ship still didn't fire. Instead, a new signal appeared. A voice. Human. Calm. We gave you silence. You answered with guns. Now, you will listen to the storm. Then, without warning, the Terran ship's entire body, unfolded sections split open. Parts rotated. Glowing blue-white engines emerged from hidden compartments. The ship transformed into something far larger than it appeared. And it moved. Not slowly. Not with caution. It moved like lightning. That it cut through the nearest cruiser. Not with weapons, but with sheer force. Another ship tried to fire. Gone. Then the beams began. White, blue, invisible at times energy weapons that tore space itself. Fighters disintegrated. Battleships melted mid-flight. Stealth ships flickered and fell like leaves in a storm. The war lasted 4 minutes. When it ended, only 17 ships remained. Most were escape pods. The rest crippled, burning, drifting. The Terran warship stopped again. It hadn't moved far. No damage. No scars. Still. Silent. But this time, it left something behind. A floating black tube. It pulsed once, then opened a transmission. Torvin watched as the words appeared across every command screen in the galaxy. This was retaliation for first contact. Next time, it will be war. The cube exploded into light and was gone. So was the ship. Back in the council chamber, no one spoke. Even Commander Harnell, still alive, said nothing. He just looked at the stars from his broken bridge, breathing slowly, as if afraid even his voice might trigger another strike. Admiral Torvin turned to the others. Start preparing peace messages, he said. Do you think they'll respond? Someone asked. Torvin stared at the stars. I don't know. But next time, we may not survive the answer. The 4-minute war. The battlefield was filled with silence, but not peace. Wreckage floated across space. Broken warships spun without power. Flame and debris drifted like forgotten memories. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy had arrived with confidence, pride, and thousands of guns. And now, only 17 ships remained. No one could explain it. The war had lasted 4 minutes, not because the enemy escaped, but because the human warship allowed it to end. In the broken command deck of the Triumph X, Commander Harnell stared at the display. His ship had lost nearly all systems. Shields gone. Engines cold. Life support running on emergency backup. Yet he was alive. Not by skill. By mercy. Small crew huddled behind him. Officers who once gave orders, now shaking in silence. What was that? Whispered one. No one had the answer. Outside the viewport, the Terran ship remained, floating. Watching. It didn't move like a machine. It moved like it was thinking. Commander Harnell slowly activated a short-range visual feed. The exterior of the Terran ship came into full view. Its hull wasn't just armor. It was layered in technology they couldn't understand, moving, adapting, changing. Even now, lines of glowing blue light traveled across the surface, like veins carrying power. And at its center, a pulsing white orb. It didn't look like a reactor. It looked like an eye. Watching. Judging. On Fortress Vyrix, Admiral Torvin had seen enough. He stood in front of the council chamber, where leaders argued in panicked voices. The humans broke the rules of warfare. Shouted a lizard-like diplomat. "That wasn't war," replied Torvin. "That was proof." "Proof of what?" "That Earth is no longer playing by the galaxy's rules." The chamber went silent. Back on the battlefield, something shifted. Human warship finally moved, not toward the survivors, but away. Then it stopped near the largest debris field, where the destroyed council ships floated in silence. And then it began to speak, but not in words. A high-frequency pulse spread through space. It wasn't communication. It was a data burst too complex, too fast for most systems. Only one device managed to decode it, a dormant Council black box AI, hidden aboard a scout frigate. The decoded message was terrifying. "Your fleets were brave. Your weapons were strong. But you built for conquest. We built for survival. For 70 years, Girth watched. You laughed. You ignored our silence. And now, silence has become your lesson. This was not war. This was the measure. 4 minutes." The transmission ended. Then the human ship's engines brightened with white plasma light. But it didn't jump. It slowly drifted past the remaining 17 ships. It passed close enough for every surviving crew to see the ship's details, the scars of deep construction, the shifting panels, the weapon ports hidden within its moving surface. And then the nameplate. One word, freshly burned across the side in ancient Terran military script. Oblivion. On board the High Wind, one of the few surviving cruisers, a young pilot broke down in tears. Not because of fear, but because he realized something no one else had said. "They didn't kill us all," he whispered. "They could have, but they didn't." His captain nodded slowly. "They wanted us to tell the story." And tell it. They did. The 17 ships that survived scattered across the galaxy. Some returned to their homeworlds. Some never flew again. But every crew member remembered every second, and every second was recorded, replayed, and spread. A tale of oblivion. The Terran warship that destroyed the galaxy's strongest fleets in 4 minutes became legend overnight. Religious orders feared it was divine punishment. Military leaders tried to deny what happened until the footage leaked. Scientists failed to explain the ship's weapon systems, armor, or technology. Some even doubted it was manned. They said the warship behaved too perfectly, too inhuman. Rumors grew. Was it controlled by AI? Was it alive? Or was it Earth's final message to the galaxy? Back on Earth, no one knew what the rest of the galaxy was thinking. Because Earth had said nothing. No diplomats. No ambassadors. No official transmission. Only oblivion. And a silent warning written in its wake. In 4 minutes. Humanity had spoken. The galaxy now had to choose what to say next. Asterisk. Survivors and whispers. Survivors never slept the same again. For the 17 ships that limped away from the battlefield, the memory of oblivion was more than just a war story. Was a scar burned into the mind. Some tried to move on. Others turned their silence into worship. And then the whispers began. Fleet Commander Harnell had once been known as the Unshaken. Now he refused to speak to the press, the council, or even his own family. He stayed in isolation on the damaged flagship Triumvex, orbiting a quiet moon in a distant system. Every day he stared at the stars. And every night he dreamed of a white light that swallowed ships like breath in the wind. But it was what he heard during those last seconds that truly haunted him. A whisper inside his head. Not from radio. Not from the COMNs. It was inside him. It said, "You knew we were watching, but you never thought we'd speak." He told no one. Not until a second survivor, a junior pilot from the scout ship Delta Ray, reported something similar. "I saw the ship from the side," she said in her debriefing. There were symbols, moving, almost alive. It looked like they were written in light, and I heard voices. Human, but not like any I've ever known. Her report was marked classified, but by then, others began speaking too. On a mining colony in Sector 23, a maintenance worker found a small black shard floating in orbit. He thought it was just metal from the battle. He brought it inside, but every night, his ship systems turned on by themselves. Messages appeared on his monitor. Did they fear you too? Do you understand silence now? We are not what you left behind. He tried to throw the shard away. Came back. 2 days later, the colony went dark. No survivors. Only a single phrase left burned across a hangar wall. You took everything. We built in silence. At the Galactic University, scholars attempted to analyze the brief data burst left behind by oblivion. One AI linguist tried to decode the deeper layers of the message. She found something beneath the text. Name. Not a ship's name. A person's name. Elias Gray, a long-dead Terran commander. Died 70 years ago. Buried on Earth. Officially retired. From the military after the Council betrayal. So how was his name buried in the ship's data signal? Some believed oblivion wasn't just a weapon. It was a coffin. Or worse. A living echo. News across the galaxy spread like fire. Some called oblivion a ghost ship. Some called it a god. A coup. Few dared to call it justice. Many civilizations that once cheered Earth's silence now held emergency meetings. Do we attack? Do we surrender? Do we speak to them again? But Earth still said nothing. No official reply. No threats. No messages. Just one act and a warning. Next time, it will be war. Admiral Torvin, now seen as the most experienced voice on the matter, gave a rare broadcast. He stood before millions, eyes hard and tired. We thought Earth needed us. We thought silence was weakness, but silence was their forge, their memory, their anger, and now their weapon. He paused before ending his speech with 4 chilling words. We pushed them first. The galaxy listened. And trembled. Far across the stars. In a hidden Terran deep orbit facility, a technician stood before a line of inactive ships. All black. All. Smooth. All cold. Except one. A small light blinked beneath its armor. A voice crackled from the shadows. Oblivion has returned. The voice said. The technician nodded. He tapped the screen labeled Project Sleeping Giant Status. Phase TWO. Adamja, another ship powered. On. Its engines glowed. But this one wasn't named Oblivion. This one was called Judgment. And it was waiting for the order. On planets across the galaxy, statues of council. Heroes were quietly removed. Recruitment centers stood empty. Fear replaced pride. And in every corner of known space. When people looked at the stars, they wondered, what else did the humans build in their silence? Because oblivion was not just a ship. It was a reminder, and the whispers would never stop again. The message from Earth. The galaxy held its breath. Since oblivion appeared and vanished, no ship had dared enter Terran space. The Council had gone silent. Armadas returned home. Planets once proud of their fleets now avoided speaking the name. Earth, the memory of 4 minutes of destruction, was still fresh. And then, the message came. It didn't arrive through Council channels. It didn't travel by wormhole relay. It simply appeared on every monitor, every screen, every frequency at the same time, across the galaxy. A black screen, then words in glowing white text. 71 years ago, you turned away from our cries for help. You were burned, betrayed, and broken. You offered silence. Now we return it. The screen blinked. Then came the image. A view of Earth blue, cloud-wrapped, beautiful, hovering in the center of a dark void. But this wasn't Earth. From known records. It was surrounded by silent war platforms, gigantic rings of black armor, rotating stations, orbital guns, stealth fleets drifting in the shadows. Behind it, the sleeping giant fleet floated in stillness. There were no blinking lights. No calls. No signs of life. Yet the silence was loud. Very loud. Then a voice spoke. Not artificial. Not cold. Human. Male. Calm. We are not the humans you left behind. We are the children of silence. We built in the shadows. We grew in the dark. We remember everything. His voice was slow. Measured. Deadly. You laughed when we left. You mocked when we warned. You thought we had vanished. We did not. We rebuilt, not for conquest, but for justice, for balance, for survival. Another image appeared. A timeline. Every year since Earth left the Council. Each year, a ship design was completed, a weapon tested, a system activated. For 70 years, Earth had not disappeared. It had prepared. We gave you a warning. We sent oblivion alone, not as a weapon, but as a question. Would you understand? Would you stop? Your answer was fire. Your answer was pride. And so, here is ours. Suddenly, the feed shifted. Hundreds. No. Thousands of Terran ships faded into view. Stealth cruisers, massive carriers, dread-class war machines. All hidden in the black of space, now revealing themselves like ghosts. Each carried a single marking, SG Sleeping Giant. Some were parked in orbit around Earth. Others hovered near gas giants, moons, asteroid belts. Many were deep in the dark, where only black holes and death existed, and all of them were ready. The voice returned. We do not seek war, but we no longer fear it. We will not strike first, but we will answer. The galaxy is now on notice. Earth is no longer part of your council. We are not under your rule. We are not your colony. We are humanity, and we are awake. Then the screen faded to black. One final line appeared. Next time we will not send a ship. We will send the storm. And with that, the message vanished. No trace. No sender. No source. Just silence. Again. Across the stars. No one moved. No leader gave orders. No ship launched. Planets that once boasted of fleets now dismantled there. Banners. The council chamber remained dark for 7 full days. No meetings, no votes, no declarations. Just the echo of a message that shook every system. Even the bravest warriors admitted what they had seen. And what they felt. Terror. But deeper still, respect. Because Earth had done what no other species had ever done. It had disappeared. To become unseen, and return to become unmatched. On a quiet moon, Admiral Torvin sat alone, watching the stars. He no longer wore his medals. He no longer led a fleet. He simply sat. And whispered, "We were warned." In his hand was a small item recovered from the remains of oblivion. It was not a weapon. It was a child's drawing. Crayon lines, faded, a human family, a small house, a burning sky. And 4 words at the bottom. They didn't come to help. That was the truth. Earth had never truly wanted revenge. It had wanted justice. And when no one gave it, Earth built it alone. Now, the stars belonged to many races, but the silence between them, that belonged to Earth. And everyone knew. If another war ever came, humanity would not just return. It would end it.